Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm sitting down for an impromptu video. None of this has been planned, but a conversation just came through and blew the literal fuck out of Instagram. And I've seen a lot of things that I find concerning as a consumer, but also as someone who is not necessarily aspiring to be an influencer, but as someone who is an advocate, who has a degree that helps them understand these things, and also as someone who wants to continue to inspire and help my viewership. And so I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about these things today. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I had no intentions of filming a video today. I'm in a lot of pain, so if I'm having some trouble kind of keeping my head together, I look like I'm not okay, it's okay. It's all a part of the healing process. It's going to take time, guys. I also want to go ahead and give a couple disclaimers. Let's get into this video. So, first disclaimer, this is not to bash anybody. I'm going to give some tough love talks in this video, but this is not to bash anybody. This is not to make anyone feel less than or unequal because they cannot afford certain things. If you are in that category, baby, this video is it's not about you. Okay, just remember that. That's not what this conversation is about. I also want to go ahead and start off with a second disclaimer. The thing that we need to remember in this entire scope is that there is no such thing as complete ethical consumption underneath capitalism. Let's remember that, okay? There's no such thing. Everything we purchase, everything we buy, unfortunately has some negative attachment to it, whether it's the clothes you wear, your jewelry, your makeup, your hair care products, the water that you drink, the cell phone that you use, the camera that we use to record our videos. All of these things, unfortunately, have negative ties to them, regardless of how fair trade they are. You know, some products we stick to the fair trade thing, and we do try. And I say we because I am a part of that environmental advocacy community. I do have a degree in environmental sustainability. I am not just blowing smoke here. And so I am someone that is coming to you as not only a consumer, but somebody who, by way of degree, has to also be an educator, okay? So I'm coming from a very different place than a lot of people are. I am not a business owner. I am an aspiring business owner. I've been doing my own research, my own networking. So even though I'm not putting the money out there to start my own business or to go ahead and create a business yet, I am an aspiring business owner. I am an aspiring organization owner. And so also keep that in mind, okay? So, if you have no clue what this is about, because most of this has happened on Instagram, very few YouTube videos have been posted about it at all. The owner of Coils by Nature has really been outing companies for capitalizing on the natural hair movement, capitalizing on the needs of Black consumers, which is now resulting in our favorite Black-owned businesses who have fought for shelf space getting kicked out of stores. Now, this isn't just these brands capitalizing on these ideas, you know, throwing a dash of coconut oil here, a little bit of argan oil here. These big box brands mimicking, recreating, you know, trying to emulate the formulations of these smaller Black-owned businesses that we love, okay? And this is how a lot of these brands are getting kicked out of stores. One example is Cream of Nature. They have directly knocked off not only the packaging, but the full concept and ideas of some of Coils by Nature's products. She started this conversation. She gave a really nice, not completely comprehensive, but a really great idea of how many Black-owned businesses out there that you can support. The owner of Sultanicals also posted a picture of quite a few well-known affordable brands, many of which a lot of consumers tend to think are Black-owned, and they are not. As I Am is not Black-owned, guys. I think I've said this before, because I've had requests for a Black-owned business highlight on As I Am, and I have told you guys I will not do it because they are not Black-owned. Also, Cantu. For some reason, a lot of us still have the idea that Cantu is Black owned. It is not. And really, this conversation has blown up into something that it shouldn't have been blown up in. The entire point of making these posts is to make you guys as consumers aware of not just who you're supporting, but how your support can affect those other things. I see so many of the people that I've heard saying negative shit now, you know, talking about how we need to support Black businesses. You know, we need to support, we need to support, we need to support. But when it comes to the reality of it, a lot of us don't actually support Black businesses in ways that we should. And it's not to bash anybody, it's not to make anybody feel bad, but the thing is, we are expecting the same actions of, you know, million and billion dollar conglomerates, of these folks that don't have the capital to do half of what we want them to do, okay? And that is something that we need to consider. A lot of us are highly uneducated consumers, okay? We don't do any research. We rely on social media to give us everything that we need to know, and that's not how it works. We saw this with Eco Styler, okay? Like, it's so funny to me how, like, y'all took the word of one chick on YouTube, someone who claimed to be someone that's about science, that cares about these things, but didn't do anything in a way that showed that she actually cared about the scientific research, that she cared about the information that she was bringing to you guys. And I'm saying that as someone who has worked in commercial labs, y'all. Like, I'm not saying this as someone who is just sitting at home. I never do anything. I've only worked retail. I'm talking about someone that has done this for a living, okay? If that information had been taken at face value and then used in a report in somebody's college, university, institution, she would have been laughed out of the building. And we're just going to be honest. But y'all took that information at face value. And it's so funny because it was all, this is why we need to buy Black. This is why I only buy Black. Because these people that aren't Black, that own these companies, are trying to kill us. That's what it was almost exactly a year ago, y'all. And now we're over here trying to bash smaller Black-owned brands. For what? For giving us the information that we should have been looking at from the jump? Because we should have. And this is the thing. When it comes to consumerism, a lot of us are going to be uneducated. That's okay. But when someone gives you the tools to learn, it would be nice if we as Black people would actually, like, listen, you know? It would really help. You know, it would really help, okay? One of the things that I take issue with is we have a lot of people that are bashing other consumers because they're very upfront and honest about not being able to afford a lot of these products. That is okay, guys. No one wants you to go broke for a hair product. And that's why, as someone who reviews products, I review a lot of Black-owned brands, and you guys can see from my shelf that the majority of the products that I own are Black-owned. I can insert a clip of everything that I have up there. The majority of those brands are Black-owned. Those are the ones that I put the majority of my money into. But I do buy these other cheaper alternatives for you guys because I know that a lot of you, you know, your parents, your students, you know, maybe y'all have a lot of health issues like I do when you're on a fixed income. Like, these are all realities. And so those of you that do like to buy from Black-owned brands, do so at a minimum, and that is okay. I make those reviews so that you know kind of what you should look for when you are wanting to splurge on hair products. That's okay. For a lot of us, those expensive hair products are our daily, okay? And so a lot of people are kind of displacing their anger with the situation on people who genuinely can't afford those products, who genuinely can't afford to maintain that lifestyle, and that's okay. No one should be making anybody feel bad about what, you know, they can't spend their money on. Alternatively, I'm seeing a lot of it with influencers as well. All of a sudden, I'm seeing a lot of people that are like, oh, if these influencers don't only use Black-owned brands, and I'm boycotting, I'm not watching you anymore. I think that's a little extreme, to be honest. And I feel that way because it is the job of an influencer to try to give you, as a viewer, the most well-rounded content possible. And yes, they're going to get paid for it, but the reality is they're using it so you don't have to, right? That's essentially the point. We watch specific YouTubers either because we know that the things that work for their hair also tend to work for our hair, or sometimes, and I know a lot of y'all do this too, I know a lot of y'all watch me because the things that I look for in hair products don't work for you, and you use me as a gauge of what to avoid. That's what we're here for. I'm not going to look at any influencer and tell them you should not be taking a deal, you should not be using this product or showing it on your channel because of this, right? We simply cannot do that, because then that creates dishonesty on a different scale. It really does, because let's be honest, they're still going to buy those products if they want to. They're just using them on the sly. I mean, that's what's going to happen, right? I would much rather have that person using those products, giving me the tea, telling me what everything's about, so that I know what to look for, whether it's something that I want to buy, instead of just hopping into the hype like all of us do. On the other side of this argument is a lot of people attacking these Black business owners because of their pricing or because they're not perfect. Listen, what a lot of consumers don't understand is that everything that we ask for to make our lives easier costs money. And if we have not been adequately supporting these brands, if they're, maybe they've just started, they haven't been around that long, they're still trying to get their foot in the door, they don't have the capital to give us everything that we want. It's just not realistic. One big example is Sultanicals, and it's honestly really gross, the type of comments that I've seen them getting, just because they are being a part of this conversation. Sultanicals has gotten a lot of flack because I think, albeit, and I think Ayo, the owner, I think she would agree with this too, is that they got in over their head. And so the things that were happening 6 years ago when they started are still happening now, because they wanted to be that super cool, funky, new brand with all of these different products. They wanted to pull you in. But sometimes that doesn't work. And having way too many products, unfortunately, doesn't always get a brand where they want to. That's something that you do down the line, not something that you do from the start. And so they had issues with shipping times because they had too many SKUs. That's just a reality. They've had a lot of issues just with shipping, changes in packaging, difficulty of keeping things consistent, wanting to make things better, but unfortunately you can't make things better without making things a little bit worse in the long term. I'm just going to be real with you guys. A lot of these brands, these up-and-coming brands, or some smaller businesses that have been around for a while, are expensive for a reason. We have all these things that we ask for in a product. We want it to do a million different things. We want it to be multi-purpose. We want it to have the absolute best ingredients. We want them to be organic and fair trade and whatever other stamp we can put on it. Those things cost money. Bottom line, I have worked on organic farms and reserves. I've worked with people that, try to help these farms convert to being organic. There is a process to this. A lot of these farms, it takes like years of money put in, years of work put in before that land can be considered as being used for organic purposes. Okay? This isn't something that, because we see it so much, we just assume that it's something that you just slap a label on it and go, right? And obviously, FDA is FDA, and you gotta take that for what it is. But there are actual merchants, actual sellers, actual farmers that are in this because they care about it. And the thing is, a lot of you guys don't know what you're asking for when you ask for these certifications. Or sometimes you ask for things that aren't certifications. You want things to be all natural. Well, guess what, y'all? All natural don't mean shit. It doesn't. I've told you guys this quite a few times. When reviewing products, they'll say that they're all natural or, you know, naturally sourced. A lot of people also don't understand that derivatives fall within that. So, like, caprylic triglyceride, that is a coconut oil derivative that can be in a product that claims to be all natural. You don't know this because you don't understand the certifications that go into it. And so that's just something that we have to realize as consumers. But we're asking for things that cost more money. And the reality is these business owners still have to keep food on their tables. A lot of them have kids to feed. They have employees that, you know, have to take care of home. We don't want people working for free. That's not cool, right? You guys say that you want better marketing. Guess what? Getting a marketing team costs money. You got to be able to pay them. Flat out. You want to see more people reviewing these products. Well, guess what? Brand deals with influencers cost money. Influencers aren't doing commercials for free. They shouldn't. That costs money. And so a lot of people, and I think this is my biggest thing, is that a lot of the people that I've seen, I follow them on different platforms, or I have seen them in different comment sections. And let's be honest, we don't know what the other person is living, but at the same time, the things that we see on the surface on social media definitely coordinate with the trends in our lives. You guys see me talking about different products on social media, suggesting different products on social media in different comment sections. Obviously, I buy products. It's just, it is what it is. I buy a lot of products. A lot of y'all buy a lot of products too. And you guys can afford to shop these brands. You just don't want to because you have a chip on your shoulder about something. And that's not okay either. Like, if you're going to be, if that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. But don't try to color it as something else. You know what I mean? There are a lot of other affordable Black-owned businesses out here. And we still don't really show them adequate support either. A lot of them lose shelf space because, you know, we're still not buying those products. And if the products don't work for you, that's fine. Nobody can argue that. Like, no one's trying to argue that. But the bottom line is that a lot of us do a lot of talking, but we don't actually, like, walk the talk. We don't. And so when we choose to put our money consistently in other places instead of actually putting our money in the places that we say we're putting it, we have to deal with those effects. I see a lot of people that complain about accessibility to these products. A lot of you guys want accessibility. You want these products in Target, Walmart, or wherever. When they get on the shelves, you don't buy them. If you don't buy the products, it doesn't matter. Typically, when brands take these deals, you know, they're committing to a certain number of units, a certain amount of stock, and a certain amount of that has to be sold, guys, within a certain period of time. And if those products aren't sold, the actual big box retailer is not going to keep, you know, bringing in more product if we're not buying it. And let's be truthful, a lot of people say they want accessibility, but then they don't buy the products because, I mean, most of these retailers aren't having huge sales, right? So you still want the retailer to accommodate, you know, your spending habits or what you can't afford, and that's not how it works. It just is what it is. That's up to the retailer. These brand owners cannot force retailers to have certain types of sales. They just can't. That's not up to them. They can control the sales that they have, and a lot of us do shop their sales, but also you have to think about if all you ever do is interact with a small business to ask them when they're having a sale, do you really support them? Like, do you? Because me personally, like, if I ever do the things that I do want to do, Obviously sales are a big part of, you know, showing customer appreciation, showing that you love the people that support you. But if I saw a question about a damn sale every single time I posted something the way a lot of y'all do, I would be annoyed out of my mind. Like, some of y'all are asking for sales and they literally just had one. Right? Like, do you expect their products to be on sale all the time? They can't do that. They can't afford that. When they put those products on a sale, they're still taking a loss, guys. They are. They're taking a loss because they want to please their customers. I mean, think about this. It all stems back to the things that we want to keep us happy cost money. We can get those things from bigger companies because they have the money to. They can afford to take that loss all the time. That's why you see a lot of these products consistently on sale. There's always a manufacturer's coupon. There's always a buy two, get one, or buy whatever, get whatever on those products. There's a reason for that. And that's something that we have to consider as consumers. Like, I don't know how else to put that. You know, we want free shipping, you know, up to a certain point, or just free shipping in general, or when we have new businesses come up, we're mad because their shipping isn't super cheap. For example, Melanin Hair Care. And God bless Whitney, because she has, from what I've seen, created a really nice product. And she's gotten a lot of flack for it, not necessarily from influencers, but from a lot of consumers. And I've witnessed some really nasty comments about her and her brand, just because people were mad about shipping costs or the cost of the product. Now, I mean, basically the products that she have created are pretty cost effective when you break it down, you know, dollar per ounce. Her shipping is high. It's high. But she just started, y'all. She can't afford to take this huge loss on shipping. She can't. And if you guys, as consumers, became business owners and you were in the same position, you wouldn't be able to either. Like, just be honest with yourself here. If you were just starting off, there's only going to be so many corners that you can cut to save your customers money. And if we're going to be honest, like, a lot of these brands, yes, they're priced high, but I can just be straight up with you and tell you that from the product knowledge I have, from working with different merchants and sellers and farmers, these brand owners could be charging twice what they're charging us, y'all. Like, we don't really completely understand how much of a deal that we're getting sometimes when it comes to these products. Like, yes, $16 to $18 seems like a lot in the long run, but then when you actually consider how much they're paying for the ingredients that they're putting in the products, they're putting those ingredients higher up on the list, so you're getting a formulation that is concentrated in these high quality ingredients. Dude, they could be charging us a lot more. They really could. I've also seen a lot of people basically saying that these brand owners are telling influencers that, basically telling them what they can and can't buy or what they can and can't promote, right? And that's not what this conversation started as. A lot of influencers that I've seen, and it's funny because they're talking about this on Insta stories, which tells you a lot. They're not making posts about it. They're not making videos about it because they know that what they're saying is intellectually dishonest. And I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of intellectual dishonesty from a lot of us, and we need to cut the crap. A lot of influencers that I have seen comment on this feel like brands are telling them, oh, you can't use this product. You can't promote these things. You know, throw all your white-owned shit out. Nobody is saying that. And they're even acting like these brands are saying that these products, you know, some of these products haven't been here for years. Now, let's go ahead and address that first, because that was the one thing that really annoyed me the most. We know that some of these brands have been around forever. We know Cantu ain't new. We know Mazzani is not new. Care ain't new. Like, let's stop pretending here. We know that As I Am is not new. Now, I don't know the full history of As I Am, I have only ever known them as a brand that catered to natural hair. And if I'm remembering right, I think the man that owns As I Am also owns Avalon, which is the conglomerate that handles Cara and all of that. If I remember correctly, I very well could be wrong. Comment below if I am. Let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the thing is, yeah, a lot of these brands have been catering to Black people for pretty decent periods of time, but they weren't catering to natural hair. They were selling us relaxers and products to keep our hair relaxed. Like, one of people's biggest examples is Pantene, and saying that, like, Pantene is always catered to natural hair. Guys, the reality is that those products, from what I remember, they always said relaxed and natural. The biggest, like, the first thing that they acknowledged was relaxed hair. If naturals were using it, they were using it because it was all they had, right? Most of these companies wanted to acknowledge those who were relaxing, because being natural was not the thing to do. And so when we had brands like The Main Choice, Eden Body Works, so many of these amazing Black-owned brands, Camille Rose, that came out, made kick-ass formulas. Yes, they were priced high, but a lot of these brands came out at a time where we were desperate to find things that weren't going to disrupt our curl pattern. And so we paid for them. They were there. That was what was there. Even Miss Jessie's, which to a fault doesn't have the best ingredients, they're very high priced for the ingredients. Like, we all know this, right? But that's what was there. Curls is what was there. And we paid the money for them, and we gave them our support because that was what we had. But they were also really great brands, right? But all of these other big box brands started to take note, right? And so after so many years, you see all of these brands that typically only catered to relaxed hair now wanting to cater to naturals. Rightfully so. We were all interested because we were like, oh, I used to use that, you know? Why not? Like, I want to try it, right? And that's okay. But that is part of that marketing ploy, to give you the things that you were seeking from these brands that actually cared, so they can start getting their money back, you know? And a great point was brought up in all of this, that we can keep buying into these big box brands because they're cheaper, because they're inexpensive. But at some point, if we don't have any more Black-owned brands to look on, to, you know, look back to, then these big box brands can do whatever they want, right? They can stop catering to you at any point in time because they've gotten the money that they wanted. This is something that we do have to keep up with. This is something that we do also have to consider. And it's something that I know a lot of you know, because you made these comments when we had this whole eco-styler debate, right? These were the same things that y'all were saying with eco-styler. And all of a sudden, because brand owners or brands that you feel like haven't catered to you enough adequately are calling this out, you want to change your tune. And that all boils down to intellectual dishonesty, y'all. It does. That's all it boils down to, is being intellectually dishonest. I see a lot of influencers saying that these brands don't get to complain because they've had one or two bad experiences with Black-owned brands, and payment and all of that stuff. Now listen. I'm probably going to get some shit for this, but we are now in a world where everybody wants to get paid for doing subpar work. I'm just going to put it out there. Now, yes, work is work, but at the same time, a lot of influencers that I see complaining about fair payment, and this is not all of them, but a lot of them that I see complaining about fair payment, don't create quality content. And I don't mean that you have to have the best of best cameras, that you have to have the most amazing setup. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about actually gaining and retaining product knowledge, knowing what you're talking about. A lot of the people that I've seen made this comment, half the names they still can't seem to pronounce in their videos. Like, to me, if you can't actually pronounce the brand name, then why should somebody be paying you? But a lot of influencers give out false information on products. They give out misleading tips, and they want fair compensation. And the thing is, we have gotten to a point now where there are so many amazing influencers who know what they're talking about, who are knowledgeable, who are dynamic, who don't just have a certain look, but they have a really great reach with us. We trust what they say because they've shown us that they deserve our trust, right? And so this is no longer an industry where you can just come in and pick up a camera and just do whatever and then feel like a brand has to compensate you. I just have to be honest about that. The same expectations that you have for these brands, influencers also need to have for themselves, you know. Also, the thing that kills me is that a lot of these influencers will have issues with a couple of Black-owned businesses and then just paint them all with the same brush. And the thing that kills me is that we talk about how we don't like these stereotypes that are placed upon us as Black people, but we continue to perpetuate these stereotypes throughout our own communities. I've had issues with Black-owned brands. I was straight up about how I felt about the TGIN situation during Black Friday. I wasn't upset that, you know, they were slowed down because it was Black Friday. I was upset because I was getting misleading information from two sides, and then it seemed like, you know, the focus was on putting out product to influencers who may or may not, you know, use the product, as opposed to the people that actually paid for the product. That was my issue. I didn't just voice that with you guys, I voiced that with the company. And they said, you know, you're absolutely right, we apologize. They refunded me my money, and eventually I did get my products. That was big of them, because they took a really big loss on that sale, right? And so, even though I've had these issues with these Black-owned companies, I'm not sitting here acting like every single Black-owned business is just a pile of trash. Like, come on. And I know, finally, Amber, you know, she's made some good points about this too, is that, you know, you can go ahead and send those products. Products don't equal payment, and I totally agree with that. Send those products, get them out there so that more people are using them, more people will promote, and that will allow you to get that money back so that, you know, you can actually pay for marketing teams, things of that nature, and then eventually you can, you know, sponsor influencers and pay them for their content. I totally agree with that. But it kills me how a lot of influencers all of a sudden want to try to paint Black-owned businesses with a brush because you had a couple of bad experiences. Again, intellectually dishonest, because we know not all Black-owned businesses are like that. We also know that entrepreneurship is something that is really up and coming in the Black community. It's something that a lot of us are striving for, right? And not all of us are going to get it right on the first try. We're just not. And a lot of the people that are speaking on this aren't brand owners. They're not aspiring brand owners. They have no concept of anything when it comes to business. And so, I'm one of those people that I totally accept the fact that, like, some of these businesses are making mistakes. They're going to. I mean, y'all want to act like Target ain't fuck up 11 times? Or, like, don't even get me started about Walmart, you know? And don't even get me started about brands like Pantene, Garnier, Aussie, you know? Which I think most of them are under the umbrella of Procter & Gamble anyway. And so, that's also something that, for me, I do like to consider, is that, like, I am dealing with smaller brands. And so when you're dealing with companies that are trying to give you high quality ingredients, you know, handmade, of course there's going to be a little bit of inconsistency. That's just how it is. That's what happens when you have handmade products. And I've seen quite a few people that have started businesses creating handmade products quit because it is very, very hard to maintain that consistency in products. It's really difficult. And I've seen a lot of ladies that had stepped in from YouTube to start creating natural hair products that were amazing. But a lot of times they had issues. They had to refund people because the batches that they created, for some reason, they couldn't figure out, what happened, what changed. It's not the same. It's not what I was creating before, right? I've seen this happen to a lot of people. Owning a business, creating products is not easy. There are standards that these people have to hold to when it comes to getting their products on a shelf. All in all, guys, I'm really just disappointed in our community right now. I'm really disappointed because when someone tries to have an open and honest and educated conversation about something, we revert to intellectual dishonesty. We pretend that they're saying something that they're not. And it's not okay. It's not how we actually come to change within our communities. And I brought this up to someone because she got mad at me in one of the comment sections on Soultanicals, because I said that the same way that tearing down people for not being able to afford products is awful, it's extremely obscene to come at these companies and be bitchy and mean and complain to them about pricing their products accordingly. And I can attest to the fact that the majority of these companies are pricing their products accordingly. And they could be pricing them higher, but they don't want to do that to their customers. And she got mad. She felt like I was just trying to be, oh, well, you don't agree with my opinion, so you're saying that what I think is absurd. That's not what I'm saying at all. Actually, to a point, I'm agreeing with you, because I know not everybody can afford these products. The fuck? Like, that's life, like, as long as there's as long as we have classes, as long as we have people in this world that are middle class, poor, or whatever, not everyone is going to be able to afford everything, right? That's common sense. And these business owners know that. But I also mentioned to her, I'm like, a lot of people don't even support Black-owned businesses in the smallest ways that they could. And so there are cheaper Black-owned businesses out there. We're still not supporting them. A lot of them are still getting kicked off the shelves, like I've said. And like I said, if they don't work for you, that's fine. That's not what we're arguing here. But also, we don't support our aspiring entrepreneurs. If you want to see a shift in how expensive Black-owned hair care is, there are going to have to be things that you want to sacrifice. One of those is going to have to be the completely holistic organic ingredients. You're not going to get those. And that's just bottom line. If you know people that are trying really, really hard or really, really want to create businesses like this, but you don't encourage them and support them, then it doesn't matter. Encourage up and coming sorry, I cannot get my words out. Encourage up and coming entrepreneurs that are trying to create companies, brands, products that are geared toward the things that you want to see. It's that simple. You don't have to spend all of your money to support a Black-owned business. If you can't afford a Soultanicals or a Camille Rose, one of the simplest things that you can do as a consumer is, if you know somebody that can, they're looking for more holistic, organic ingredients. They want something that's Black-owned. Send them that way, right? It's super duper simple. Just because you can't afford something doesn't mean that you can't suggest a great product. You can totally do that. You can still support these brands via social media. Sometimes it's just little things. It really is. It's just little things that you can do to create shifts within the community so that the things that you want to see more of are actually there, right? You have to create that shift. You have to create that trend. We collectively as a community created this shift toward organic, holistic ingredients. If that's not the trend that you want to see, then set the trend, set the standard, right? Consumers have a huge dealing with how these trends change. We are the reason why these big box brands are coming out with these products with 2 drops of argan oil and 2 drops of coconut oil, and then gearing them to us with some gold and brown packaging, right? We created that shift. And so we have to, as consumers, create the things that we want to see. We have to drive those shifts and those changes. It's basic economics, guys. It's really disheartening because I was hoping that there would actually be a decent, real conversation about this, because everything that was said was true. Everything that was said was true. No one is telling you to throw out your products. That's not what any of these brand owners had to say. But you should be happy that there are brand owners out here who are willing to have open, honest discussions with you guys about their companies, about their hardships, about their downfalls. I feel like AO from Sultanicals has been one of the most transparent business owners. She has told us as customers what she has done wrong to a fault and how she is trying to fix it. Some of y'all don't like how she's trying to fix it, but you know what? If you want the overall thing to change, there are going to have to be some things that you're going to have to lose out on. I'm sorry, but that's just the reality. It's the reality of producing any type of change. Anytime you want to produce some type of big change, somebody has to be willing to give up something. And usually that something that you're giving up is very small. It's very tiny, but we conceptualize it as this big thing, and then we choose not to make the change, right? That's what we do consistently as human beings. Not just as Black people, just as human beings. We do it all the time. And it's exhausting and it's tiring. I am really proud of these business owners who started this conversation, because it's very easy to be quiet about the things that are happening. It's very easy to be quiet about the brands that steal your concepts and ideas. But I'm really happy that this conversation is happening. And what should be happening is, instead of attacking, we should be discussing. We should be talking about the things that we want to see. And 9 times out of 10, if those people that are mad at these brands for having pricier products or whatever actually had real discussions instead of actually tearing them down, maybe you would actually see some constructive changes. Maybe there would be some constructive conversations that can get you to where you want to be. They're being honest, you know, and that's something that we're not doing as a community. We're not being honest about this situation, and we need to. It's exhausting. But the bottom line is that we can't ask for everything in the world and expect it to be handed to us for damn near free. We just can't. These big box conglomerates that you guys are, you know, saying are doing so much better have been around for how many years? And it's really, really easy to do well, to have all these sales, to, you know, take other people's ideas, use them as your own, flip them, and sell them to the market that you don't actually care about, to use it for your own gain. And so I really hope that those who have not been constructive on either side, either attempt to be constructive or just bow out of the conversation. I'm just being really honest here, because it's a conversation that needs to be had. And it's a conversation that a lot of you guys are wanting to just avoid, and it's exhausting. Like, why are we pretending that these things don't exist when it's convenient? Because we talk about these things when we want to call out white-owned brands, because we're shocked by the ingredients or we're shocked by what's happening. And but when actual Black business owners have something to say, actually want to educate you as consumers, then the tables turn and all of a sudden you're blind to all of this. Like, let's not do that. Let's just not. And for all of the mixed and racially ambiguous content creators that are putting out the, why does it have to be about race? Why can't it just be about small businesses? It's not anyone's job to give you a history lesson. Like, it really isn't. You're not owed a history lesson. Y'all are just as smart as anybody else. You can pick up a history book. We all know that Black people spend the most money on beauty. And we all know that it is the most difficult for Black people to get loans, to get shelf space, all this stuff. No one should have to explain that to you, but also those of you who are mixed and racially ambiguous and profiting off of not only these Black-owned brands, but Black consumers and viewers. We see that. And you tout that this is a Black-owned business when it's convenient to you. So let's not pretend that the race thing doesn't matter, okay? Like, we're not going to do that. I'm tired of the dishonesty. And also to Black creators who want to pretend that every single Black-owned business is, you know, absolutely awful. They have no business acumen. They don't know what they're doing. You know, they're sloppy or they're lazy, which is what I've seen a lot of people trying to portray on Instagram. Just remember that you too, as a Black individual who has created a channel, who has used their name, screen name, whatever, to become a brand, you are technically a Black-owned business. If people are giving you clicks, giving you likes, watching your videos all the way through, supporting your sponsorships, clicking on your links to line your pockets, buying your books or whatever else you choose to create, you are a Black-owned business, and you are subject to have those same things happen to you that are happening to a lot of these Black-owned businesses that are actually selling products. You are subject to the same thing. And so I am very much, whatever energy you choose to put out into the world, you have to be prepared to get it back. And so those of you that are putting out this energy, that are trying to pretend that, you know, all Black businesses are the same, just remember that you too are a Black-owned business. Your name is a brand. Your channel is a brand. And you are reflecting what you want to be about. And so if people choose not to support you, you have to live with that. And the same people that are acting like this is okay are the same people that are on Instagram every other week complaining about how they don't have as much engagement. Or saying that, you know, Instagram's algorithm is, you know, tearing them apart, you know. So let's just keep it 100, y'all. But this video has gone on long enough. There's a lot more that I could say about it, but I'm not. But I just wanted to sit down and have a completely honest conversation with you guys. And the thing about the people that follow me, you guys are not only smart, but I find you guys to be some of the most positive people that I see on YouTube, Instagram, wherever. A lot of you guys come with your opinions, you come correct, you come with facts, you come with love and real care and engagement. And so for the majority of y'all that follow me religiously, this is not a message that is necessarily directed towards you, right? But it's a conversation that needs to be had. And a lot of people are intentionally keeping this off of YouTube because they know that what they're saying isn't okay. They know that what they're saying is intellectually dishonest. And we just have to be real with that. But you guys know I'm always going to come to you guys just being as real and transparent as possible. Because that's what I expect as a consumer and a viewer. I'm going to try to link as much pertinent information about this as I can so that you guys can go and read what is being said by, you know, on your own. I highly suggest checking out Sultanical's page, Coils by Nature's page. I think the owner of Baskin Bloom has also chimed in on this. Quite a few different ladies. I think there's going to be like a Facebook thing tonight where all these different women have been invited to talk about this situation. This is not going to be up tonight though. So, so those of you who choose to partake in that discussion, if you did, let me know. But like I said, just chime in on the situation. I implore everyone in the comment section to be kind and honest, okay? Let's be honest here. Let's be real. Like I've said, you know, the state of your pockets does not define you. It's not a reason for you to be held at a different standard than anybody else. And so don't feel bad if you cannot support these brands financially, but I have already dropped some tools and things that you guys can implement to still support Black-owned brands without, you know, always having to spend the money that you don't have on them. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say. This video is super impromptu, not super thought out. It's kind of a rant, but it's okay. I know y'all love me, and y'all know that I always come on here to say what I have to say with the best of intentions. Also, to leave you with just a little nugget, I highly suggest checking out Kandid Kinks' channel. Lexi is amazing. She's super smart, and she is just real. She's honest, and I love the video that she did. She just kind of came on the night that it happened and was just straight up talking about, you know, how she felt. She and I are, like, right here on it. We totally agree on the situation. I appreciate that she came on from someone who is making money off of YouTube, and gave an honest, you know, a very honest conversation about it. And so I highly suggest that you guys check her out. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! I just wanted y'all to know what happens behind the scenes during filming and post-filming. Isn't this the cutest? Hi, baby. Alright guys, y'all have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and much love and fluffy tummies from Ellie. Bye.